Hey, Tony Gassens here, now popping in for another little video, little lesson. Now today, and y'all have to forgive me because my son is working on some stuff for school, and so he keep texting me. Now today, as you see the title, I want to talk to you about communication, and maybe you've heard me mention this where I say communication, my quote that went viral, communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Without it, it dies. Now, this is something that anytime you hear somebody talking about relationships, anytime you're going to hear people say the number one most important thing, the thing that everybody worried about, is communication, and rightfully so. It can make you or it can break you. But the thing about it is, just like everything we talk about, it all goes back to childhood. It all goes back to how a person was raised, what they saw, what they went through, what they experienced. It all goes back to that. And if a person was abandoned, if they were abused, if they were alone, if they were meaning like isolated, if they were in a talking household, a communicative household, some people, anything they said was seen as back talk, so they couldn't talk. Some people were yelled at as children, they were cursed at, some were beat on, some were gaslit. Some people could talk back, they could express whatever's on their mind, they could say anything they want to say. Some people could curse at their parents, curse in front of their parents. And I've always been wondering, like, I've always heard white kids curse in front of their parents, and their parent might say, "Johnny, watch it, bud." But yet Johnny still could curse. Black folks, if a black child curse, you might lose your head, at least a tooth. You're gonna lose something. And so, but then we see white people grow up and dominate the world, raise millions of dollars for their raggedy company, become everything, president, CEO, VP, start Amazon, start Microsoft, start Tesla, start this and that. And you think about it, and it's like, wow, is the freedom of expression, the freedom of communication, a secret to success as an adult? And I remember hearing about that story, and I believe it was from a Malcolm Gladwell book, where he was talking about how, and I tell this, if y'all watch my videos, you've heard this story before, about how when the mom took the little white boy into the doctor, she said, "Hey, this is your friend. He works for you. He is your doctor. Anything that you want to know, any question you have about anything, you be sure to ask him." And then the black mom took her son into the doctor, and she said, "Listen, we going in here. You sit down, you shut up. Anything the man tell you to do, you do it. And don't you say a word. You better behave yourself. Don't say nothing." And then he goes in there, and the little black kid is a mute. Don't ask any questions. Don't express himself. The doctor probably wanted to diagnose him with something else because of how he was carrying himself. And then the white kid coming in, so Dr. such and such, so with this right here, what are we gonna be doing? Okay, all right, and how does that work? And if you notice too, you will see in the grocery store, white people let their kids run all over the place. They could run, they could jump, they could knock stuff off the shelf, they could roll on the floor, they could do whatever they want to do. And then for other races, that ain't the case. Now, all of this leads into communication. 70% of communication is nonverbal. So when you get into a relationship, the reason why I'm making them points is because how someone communicates with you is determined by how they were raised, what they saw, what they heard, and their experience, what they were allowed to do. And so I want you to think about this. And I want you to think about your communication style, how you communicate, how you were allowed to communicate growing up, how you were expected to communicate, how you were taught to communicate, and then draw the parallel to how you communicate today. How do you carry yourself today? What are you doing in that space? And I want you to really think about that. And as you start to think about that and you start to realize and you start to say, okay, hold on now. Let me see here. So I like to talk for hours because I saw my mom or my dad talking for hours. Or you say, I shut down and want to escape tough confrontation with communication because I saw my mom or my dad shut down and not say anything. So when you look back to how you were raised and how you were allowed to talk, how you were taught to talk, how you were expected to talk, then you realize why you communicate the way you do as an adult. And this right here is something that a lot of people don't think of. Y'all got to forgive me now, my phone be vibrating. A lot of people don't think of this. And so now as you start to process it, you're able to realize that in communication, we have to learn how to communicate with our partner without tearing them down. And that is not easy because oftentimes we got a little bit of pain. We got some pain, or we got some stress, we got some trauma, we got some drama. We got something going on that it puts us in this mind space. Y'all forgive me, I need to find my other headphones, because after this I got to film the Pop the Balloon review for the Blessed Tribe. If you're not in the Blessed Tribe, you'll see the little button up under here say join. And join the Blessed Tribe. So Blessed Tribe, y'all be ready. Probably be a Pop the Balloon review going out tonight. What's today? Wednesday night, going out tonight. And I get to do some more this week because my wife and little Tatum, they're going to be out of town. So I'll just be sitting around bored. So I'll probably be at the office working while they gone. So I get to do a bunch more. And we take that and we want to get that little jab out. We got to get that little jab out on our partner. We got to get that little bit of frustration out. Whatever it is, pain, stress, anxiety, we got to get it out of there. And it'll hurt. You know, it hurts. And so we will tear our spouse down. Our partner will tear them down in the name of communication. And it's toxic. So you got to think about this, and you got to realize that, okay, this right here, it is a situation where we have to be able to express ourselves with I feel statements, as Stephen R. Covey teaches in his book, without tearing our spouse down and making them feel worthless or less than. And this is something that you have to be intentional about. Everything that you want to say out of your mouth, you got to say it in your head first. And then you have to think about it, and you got to say, what's the likelihood? Like, how is this going to come off? What is this going to sound like? How does this come off? What does this sound like? And how is my spouse, I'm calling it spouse, but we say partner, even though spouse is married, but we speaking marriage into existence. How are they going to take it? And to understand how they're going to take it, you got to be able to look at their history and their biography. Their history before you with their parents, how they were raised, how they were taught, how they were talked to. So that history. And then also give them a phone. And then also their history with you, how they were handled and dealt with you. So if you have some, let's see, if you have some situations, some issues where you hurt them and you talk to them harshly in the past, then you have to be able to look at it and think about it and say, okay, what do I need to do now going forward, and how do I need to say this? So I want you to think about that. Now, my agent's writing me too. Hey, if you ain't got life insurance, click the link in the description. Get a free consult, learn all about it, and what you need in the description. Now, what I want you to think about here is the anatomy of toxic communication. And let's really do a little deep dive in there, where you have criticism, you have defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling. So think about those different types of toxic communication and get to the root of it. So when it comes to criticism, as you think about criticism, who made us the boss? Why do we criticize when we are not perfect? Criticism is a learned behavior. If you've been criticized and made to feel inadequate or less than, and you know how that made you feel, it hurt you. So now you want to criticize because you want to hurt your spouse, and so you could feel big, so you could feel powerful, so you could feel strong, because you've been on the other end of being criticized and nothing you ever did was good enough. You did this, but you need to do this. You need to do this better. You need to do this better. You could have did this. You should have did this. You should have ran the ball like this. You should have shot the ball like this. You should have made this play. You should have made that play. You should have did this homework like this. You should have got this on your test. You should have did this. Should have did that. So it's like you look and you're like, man, why is nothing I do good enough? Why don't you just tell me I did a good job? Why don't you just tell me that I'm enough, that I'm smart enough, that I'm good enough, that I'm talented enough? Why is the only thing you do is criticize? Why are you always criticizing me instead of just telling me that I did good? Why is it always I ain't do this, I ain't do that, I ain't do this, I ain't do that? Why? And so then you look and you like, okay, well, so that's what I felt. So instead of doing the opposite, now you're doing the same thing. You want to critique instead of finding what's good. And so I want you to think about that and really process that and be able to come to that place and start to think about and look at and say, okay, now if I've been criticizing and I've been doing it the wrong way, and now I'm doing this because of what I went through, where do I need to address? What do I need to address in me so that I can see the good? And then ask myself, is what I'm pointing out, does it actually need to be pointed out? And now the next part of this is defensiveness. Sometimes we're being told something that our spouse needs, and we got an excuse. And all we got is an excuse, and we get defensive. And we don't want to hear what they're trying to tell us, and we don't want to hear what we need to hear because we are offended. And we got this excuse. And so you have to think about this and process when you're being defensive and why. And why you don't like to hear feedback. And that feedback could be considered criticism. But if the criticism is not abusive, if it's not out of spite, if it's not hurtful, if it's something that you're labeling as criticism, but it is making or can make the relationship better, if it's open communication about from your spouse about his or her needs and what they are giving and what they're willing to give and what they're going to continue to give, but also what they need, then that's when you have to realize and understand that, okay, this is most important. This, I need to hear this. We need to have this conversation. So let me stop being defensive. And now you're able to move forward because you're not just blocking what you're trying to hear. Now, another part of this is contempt. And you've heard the saying that says familiarity breeds contempt. So with this contempt, we can go into a place in our relationship where we start to have contempt for our spouse. And it's very hurtful and ineffective because it puts a wall up. It puts a wall up and it puts us in a space. So contempt, the definition of it is the feeling that a person is beneath consideration, worthless, or deserving scorn, a person or thing. And so a lot of times we'll find ourselves treating our spouse like that in a relationship out of just our own brokenness, pain, and bitterness. And we talking down to them. We talking to our spouse like they trash, or we being talked to like we trash. And you ask yourself, in what relationship, where is there a place for contempt? There should be no place for contempt, but there actually is. It's actually a human trait. It's something that humans feel, that humans will adopt and go through. And this is something that's very real. And so you got to be able to think about this, and you got to be able to feel this and come to a place to where you can say, do I have contempt for my spouse, for my partner, for my other half, for my significant other? Like, what's going on here? And really process that. Really process that. Now, y'all give me 1 second here, because I got to drink a gallon of water today. Got a speaking engagement coming up next week. Got to get my body in the right order, because you can't just be a messenger without looking the part. You got to look the part too. And so y'all forgive me. And I was talking to my son. I'm like, hey son, I need to get some weight off of him. You know, how can I do it? And he was like, hey daddy, do this right here. I got to watch a video on it. He talking about look. Him and my wife talking about look good. Nope. Standards higher. Standards higher. Got to be fitter. So I want you to think about this, because this plays a role. And we get to that place and we start to act a fool with that contempt. And it's really a release. You get a release, and from treating somebody with disregard, with disrespect, and you start to feel bigger, and you start to feel tougher. You start to feel like you got all the power. And then another part of this is stonewalling. Now, when you look it up, stonewalling in a relationship, how the AI describes it, is when one partner emotionally withdraws and shuts down communication during a conflict or difficult conversation. So if you notice, stonewalling is a lot of times the opposite of the person with contempt, or the person who is critiquing. So you typically have the critiquer, the contemptuous, that's one person. And that person may also be defensive, to where they can critique, but then they can't receive no critique. And then you have the stonewalling. Now this is a person typically who is accustomed to being critiqued. Their whole life, nothing they did was good enough. Oh, you should have got 100 instead of 98. Oh, you need to lose weight. Oh, you shouldn't have ate that. Oh, you shouldn't have did this. Oh, you shouldn't have made that play. Oh, you shouldn't have went there. Oh, you shouldn't have did it. So that person who has been under critique and scrutiny and everything else, a lot of times they will stonewall. And really what it is, when you think about it as a stone wall, is they putting their wall up so that you can't continue to hurt them. They shut down and they try to cut off their feelings and try to cut off their emotions, and they try not to communicate because they don't want to be emotional. If they give back to that communication, if they say something, they may start to cry. They may start to tremble. They may start to shake. They may get angry because they've been having darts thrown at them their whole life. So now they on a stone wall, so them arrows can't get through that wall. Them arrows, them darts, they even got some wall that'll block some cannons. And it just boom, boom, boom. And they stonewalling because they blocking your criticism. They blocking your darts. They blocking your contempt. They blocking your disrespect. And so they may shut down. And then it may make the critiquer even more mad because they're shutting down. And so that may make the critiquer go from shooting arrows and firing muskets to firing the cannons. And then the longer the relationship goes, the critiquer goes from firing cannons to now shooting missiles, dropping bombs. And then if the stonewaller continues to be quiet, continues to absorb all of this stuff into the stone wall, now the critiquer and the contemptuous person may drop a nuclear bomb. And that nuclear, it shatters the heart. It breaks up a lot. It hurts so bad. It does so much damage. I mean, the damage is great. It is great. Y'all forgive me here 1 second. I need to text one of my agents back. Now, if you need that another stream of income, y'all gonna join the agency. And get your insurance policy. Don't have your family calling me. The Lord called you home early. Didn't they get a policy from you? Nope, sure did not. They wanted to wait and didn't realize the Lord was calling them. The Lord was getting ready to call them, and they wanted to wait. And then also, some people have been getting term life, but it's like if you could afford to put up to save over $100 a month, then you need to get IUL because it build that cash value that you can withdraw from. Shout out Ratna, y'all, commercial break. Shout out to Giovanni. She just made a donation to the boys program. This woman here, I don't know what God did when he made her. I do not, and I don't say that in no funny way. I don't understand it. I mean, she has shown out. She has shown out with the support of Tony Gaston Family Foundation. She has shown out. Wow, 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 wow. Y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive me. And so I want you to think about that with Stonewaller. And I want you to take some time, get in your notebook, take the analogy a little deeper. Apply it to yourself. Think about yourself. You know, are you any of those things? Are you the contemptuous person? Are you the critiquer? Are you the stonewaller? Are you defensive? Like, what's your style of communication? Do you have any of those toxic communication? Because see, a lot of times people think stonewalling is the bigger person. No, stonewalling also is toxic, because instead of shutting down and walking away, you need to be able to speak up and say, hey, do not speak to me that way. I don't appreciate it, and I will not tolerate it. Instead of just shutting up, being quiet, and just getting bombarded, and now you done went from arrows being shot at you to the muskets being shot at you, to the gun being shot at, to the automatic rifles being shot, not the cannons, not the missiles, not a bomb, not a nuclear. And you sitting there just taking off. No, you got to cool, calm, and collect. You got to speak up, and you got to be able to express something. So that leads us into thinking about, how do you de-escalate heated conversations? Because that right there is very important. And so when a conversation is heated, that means one of a few things. Voices is being raised, curse words are being used, or name calling is being used. That intensity, the heart rate. So to de-escalate that, you got to get right to it. Hey, you got to get right. You got to be. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Hey, I know you mad right now, but do not yell at me. Do not yell at me. Hey, if you're going to call me names, if you're going to belittle me, this conversation is ending right now. Do not. You have to de-escalate it. You got to be able to, you got to sit down. You got to not raise your voice, not name call, not curse. Those are all de-escalation tactics that you can use. You got to stop it. You got to redirect it. And then you reinforce the positive communication. If you yell back, if you curse back, if you name call back, if you throw stuff back, if you reciprocate and retaliate that which has been done to you, then you're going to a place to where you are now you taking and you messing yourself up. You messing yourself up now, because you taking in now. This can go from just yelling to physical. It could be fist thrown. So to de-escalate, you have to do the opposite of what they're doing if they're escalating. And that's where a lot of communication breaks down at, is people will return this term of matching energy. You only match energy when it's good energy. You don't match energy when it's bad energy. Don't let a monster make you a monster. Don't let someone evil make you evil. Don't let someone ignorant make you ignorant. Don't let someone immature make you immature. So you only match energy or mirror when it's positive. You don't do it when it's negative, when it's destructive. You don't do that. And so you got to realize and understand that. So think about that now. Y'all give me 1 second. Y'all forgive me, I had to pause real quick. Something going on with my team. One of our players just got him a raise and promotion to a big team in the country, so just celebrate. Now, back to what we were saying, when it comes to this communication and you realize the different styles and you start to think about and process, okay, this is what I had to do to de-escalate this situation so that it doesn't become physical. The next thing you have to think about and be very mindful of is the different types of communication based on gender and communication styles. Because although there will be some, and not just communication style, but the personality type. Because although there may be some crossover there, you'll have some situations where you have a woman who communicates like a man who communicates like a woman. And when I say that loosely because with the gender roles, it could be a little unfair sometimes because we think the world portrays this message that women are overly talkative and that women are super communicative and that every woman is just runs circles around a man in a discussion, in an argument, in communication. Whereas in my relationship, I'm actually the talker. As you can see, I teach for an hour on these videos. Sometimes I've talked for 2 hours, maybe 3, 4, 5 hours on a video or two. So I'm actually the talker, and my wife, she is a talker in the sense of telling them about her day and all the stuff she's into, what she's watching, all that. But when it comes to like a conversation and like communication, she doesn't come from that, and she doesn't do a lot of it. Whereas for me, I come from that and I could do a lot of it. And I work with some couples where the woman is the talker, and I work with some couples where the man is the talker. So it goes both ways, and you have to be able to look at your relationship, your situation, and be able to see, okay, this right here is where you have my spouse who communicates like this because of his or her personality type is like this. So you have the personality type where they want to talk everything out, they want to address it immediately, and they want to talk everything out whether it takes 3 or 4 hours or not. Then you have the personality type who they would rather sweep it under the rug, kind of ignore it and not address it. Then you have a personality type that when it is addressed, they want to just get it over in 15 to 30 minutes max and move on with their life. Then you have a personality type that want to address it, talk about it for an hour, y'all forgive me. My son writing me. I told him I'm working. And now talking for an hour and addressing it, and then boom. So as you look at this, you start to realize that we all have different personality types and we have different styles of communication. And you got to be able to look and identify your strengths and weaknesses in the area, and you got to understand who you're dealing with, because you can't hammer a screw and you can't screw a nail. So the faster you learn your communication style and how you like to communicate, and the faster you learn your spouse's communication style and how he or she likes to communicate, and then you marry the two. So to give you an example, I am a communicator that can talk about something 2, 3, 4 hours, but I also can be defensive and dismissive. My wife is a communicator that she doesn't like to talk about it. She would rather make like a little snarky comment, but she really don't want me to say nothing back or to harp on it. Or she'll just make a face, but she really doesn't like confrontation. She doesn't want to talk about it, and if it has to be talked about, she wants exactly what I need to say to be said as quickly and as concisely as possible. She says, I got it, and she doesn't want to hear it again. Don't want to talk about it again. So for me, knowing that about myself, me knowing that about her, she was raised by two Jamaican parents. They were not together, who were very tough, strong, straightforward, direct. She was raised, her and her mom, so she didn't get to see her mom really do a bunch of interacting with a man and communicating with a man. And her mom very hard on her, very real with her, very direct with her. So she didn't grow up seeing long form communication, discussions, disagreements, arguments happening on a regular basis. I grew up in a two-parent household watching my mom and dad argue and then later communicate, and seeing conversations that would last for hours. And then I would have conversations with my dad when I would get in trouble that would last for hours. So that's the prime example that I'm telling y'all about of the work you got to do to understand your history and your biography and how that show up in a relationship. So just like I explained to you, I like to over communicate. My wife likes to under communicate. So what I had to do as the head of the household, as the man in the relationship, as the husband, as the protector and the provider, I had to find a happy medium. I have to present a conversation that needs to be had in privacy when it's her and I, whether it be in the car or in the bedroom, and I got to get directly to the point and get in and out in 15 to 30 minutes. I have to respect and believe and understand that she heard me, that she's comprehending, that she got it, and I got to move forward and let her make whatever changes it is that she needs to make, and I have to make whatever changes it is that I need to make. And if I ask her for something that I need, I have to ask her, what is it that I can do better and that you need from me? And when she tells me what she needs from me, I have to not be defensive or dismissive, and I have to take ownership. Okay, I got you, and then I have to do my part. And then that is when I am shown every single time in over 18 years of marriage that one hand washes the other and both hands wash the face. And so, example, so that you fully understand where I'm going at with this. Years ago, in our marriage, I don't know how far in it was, maybe 5 years into marriage, I'm like, baby, I need me a little more, little more penetration. And she was like, okay. And she was like, well, I need more time, more quality time. You're always on your phone. You're on your phone 24 hours, and then you just want to flip me on my back. And she was like, just give me 30 minutes of your time. Like, put your phone down for 30 minutes. Now, I was hustling and grinding, trying to make money, trying to make a living. I'm an entrepreneur. Very hard to be an entrepreneur. We had them broke into 6 figures. We making 6 figures, so I'm trying to stay in the 6 figures or get to the 7 figures. So I always was sending an email, always marketing, sending an email to Oprah, Tyra Banks, local news. I'm always marketing, thinking. So that BlackBerry, that was when BlackBerry was in. The little BlackBerry, and it had the little ball in the middle, and you use it to move the cursor and all of that, and you type on the little keyboard. So it was back then, and I had that thing in my hand all the time. And then people like, Tony, why you always got your phone? Why you always? I'm waiting on my blessing. My blessing gonna come through email, and that's why I'm checking this email over and over and over and over. And when she told me that, I'm like, wow, okay. Here I am just looking at my side of things, my perspective, and what I'm not getting and what I need, but not realizing that this is give and receive. If I just do my part, then she gonna do her part. And we locked in. And so when I seen that, I'm like, oh, okay. Wow. This right here is how this thing works. So that's what you got to realize with communication. Y'all forgive my son writing me about a business idea he got. And so think about that. And so I want you to think about this, and y'all have to, as you going through this and you taking your notes, you gotta take it to another level in your mind, and you gotta be able to put yourself in position, put your foot in the shoes, walk a mile, evaluate your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, your uncle, your aunt, your cousins, your ex, and whoever it is, whoever has affected your life, impacted your life, been a part of your life, because your communication style is shaped and formed by all of those people who had any type of effect or impact in your life. And then you're able to identify, if you're honest with yourself, you're real with yourself, you'll be able to identify if you are being true to yourself, if you're being honest with yourself, and you'll be able to tell what parts of your communication style is healthy and what parts of your communication style is unhealthy. And once you identify that, now you can make the necessary changes, if any are needed. If you are a perfect communicator, then that right there, that's something you could be proud of, pat yourself on the back. Now, the next thing I want you to think about in this is the tools that you'll need while you're communicating. And the number one tool, which Stephen R. Covey talks about, seeking to understand, then be understood, that goes hand in hand with what I'm talking about, of active listening. And you've heard it said that we don't listen to hear and understand, we listen to respond. Like, we listen to reply. And you have to really think about that and be honest with yourself and ask yourself, am I listening to hear and understand, or am I listening to reply? And so really process that. Really process and really get to that place to where you can be honest with yourself on that. Let me see here 1 second. Because with active listening, you're not making excuses. You're not making excuses. You're not taking in, blocking what they're saying just so you can get yours off. You hearing, and when you hearing, put your foot in his or her shoes and walk a mile. Like, literally become them. Become their childhood. Become their first love that they thought they had, their first real relationship they thought they had, their first marriage, their first whatever it is. Become them. And then hear what they're saying through that perspective. Look at what they're talking about through those lenses. Now that better helps you. That helps you a whole lot better as you moving forward. And as you're doing this, relationship and you communicating. Then the next thing you want to focus on is also taught heavily in communication, and I heard it from Stephen R. Covey, I believe, is using I feel statements. And it's some things that we hear that we just can't really refute. We can't argue with it. We can't get around it. When you use an I feel statement, nobody can tell you how you feel and how you don't feel. If somebody invalidates your feelings and say, you don't feel like that, that's not how you feel, that's not true, that ain't how you feel, now they have a clear-cut toxic communication style, being very dismissive, condescending, disrespectful, and all of the likes. So now you know, oh, okay, this different here now. This person being nasty when I'm trying to say, I feel like you don't respect me. I feel like you take me for granted. I feel like you put others before me. I feel like you don't listen to me when I'm talking. I feel like. So now those are your feelings, and your feelings should not be invalidated. But you also got to make sure you're not abusing I feel statements, and you're not using I feel statements to project or to lie. That you are speaking your honest to God truth, and there's no manipulation in it, no coercion in it, no deception in it. It's your honest to God truth and feelings of how you feel. And then you can go from there, and you're able to build from that place because you're being real. So I want you to think about that and really process on those I feel statements. So if you couple active listening, you're listening to hear and to understand, not just to react or to reply. You could respond. In the words of Zig Ziglar, a reaction is negative. A response is positive. When the doctor says you're having a reaction to the medicine, that's a negative thing. When the doctor says your body is responding to the medicine, that's a positive thing. I got that from Zig Ziglar. When I was changing my life and growing, and it made me think about it, like, man, when you really think about that, when you respond, you cool, calm, and collected. Like, you've heard what was been said. When you react, that ain't true, that ain't what you said. And now things get worse. So in communication, you have to be, the token phrase, emotionally intelligent. The other token phrase, cool, calm, collected. See, as you notice what I'm telling you, none of this is new under the sun. Like the Bible say, nothing is new under the sun. You just got to put it all together. You done heard everything I'm telling you, but you just ain't implementing it into your communication style. You got to put it in your communication style. And then once you put it in your communication and you bring it all together, now you got what you need. Now you got what you need. And so I want you to think about this, really process this, and come and get to that point, get to that place to where you're communicating effectively. So think about this now and process this. And then the next thing that you want to think about is, when you are communicating, how to properly take a timeout. You have to be able to say, hey, things are getting a little heated. I feel like we either saying or about to say some stuff that we're going to regret. And just like the toothpaste bottle, once you squeeze it out, you can't stuff it back in. So let's take a time out. Let's pause on this for tonight, and let's pick this up tomorrow, because this relationship means too much to me, and you mean too much to me than for us to hurt ourselves and to hurt each other and to hurt our relationship and to say things that we won't be able to repair. So you want to have that type of conversation. You want to have that conversation, and you want to be able to express that and realize that when you say that to your partner, they're going to hear you. They're going to hear you. And that right there, if they love you, that's endearing, because you're looking out for the relationship. You being the bigger person. If they have contempt for you If they despise you, no, we talking about it right now. And I'm a man, so don't think that I'm saying this is the man, because this could be the woman acting like this. I'm just saying it, in my tone and my voice, but this could be what a woman's saying. No, we're gonna talk about it right now. No, yes, they never go to bed mad. No, we're gonna talk about it. Listen, we don't have to go to bed mad. We just need to calm down and let's pick this up tomorrow. Now, if it's at the top of the day, hey, let's calm down and we'll talk about this tonight. Let's talk about this, after dinner. Let's take 30 minutes to an hour and let's talk about it. But we need to have some ground rules and some boundaries in place. Like, we need to be able to not yell, not curse, be able to sit down and talk like adults. Remove the anger out of it and let's talk like adults. Oh, you trying to say I ain't no adult? Listen, that's not what I'm saying. We need to calm down, because if this goes too far, we're not going to be able to come back from some of the stuff that we say or things that we do. So let's calm down. And no matter what, you keep it cool, calm, and collected, and you call a timeout. And now that leads you into the repair attempts. When you're trying to repair the relationship or repair the communication or the conversation, that is something that you have to do. And you do that by admitting when and where you were wrong. I apologize. Hey, I want to be first to say, I'm sorry for the way that I talked to you and for what I said to you. The things that I said, the way that I said it, I was acting from a place of insecurity, immaturity, fear, anger, frustration, self-hate. Wherever it is, you own up and you admit that. That right there, it goes so far. You do so much by doing and saying that. It gives you such a leg up to where your spouse can't really say nothing. Like, whoa. Especially when it's followed by new behavior, by changed behavior. You can't say that and then go right back to doing what you was doing. You can't do that. It has to be new behavior after it. And if you do that, now they can hear you, now they can feel you, now they can respect you. So think about that. Now, the last part what I want to touch on here is rebuilding the trust. You got to be able to rebuild a trust after verbal disrespect or misunderstandings. And this is hard, because rebuilding trust, I heard a quote one time that said, once the trust is gone, the relationship is over. So rebuilding trust is not an easy task. It is a tall order to rebuild trust. And y'all forget. And so I want you to think about this and really get to that place and start the process. You do that by apologizing, taking new action, new behavior, and being consistent. So when you can show that you're emotionally intelligent, because when you start to rebuild a trust, your spouse is going to try you. Your spouse is going to try you. If you snap, can't rebuild a trust. Like, I knew you was the same person. I knew you ain't changed. I already knew it. You was faking. You a liar. You a faker. And they will ignore the fact that they provoked you. They'll ignore the fact that you've been being absolutely good. You've been on your best behavior. They will ignore the fact. And they will disrespect you. They'll disrespect you. And so you have to realize and understand that you got to be the bigger person. You got to take initiative, and you got to be consistent. Because when you change, then when you go right, they gonna go left. And when they come to test you and they try you, and then what your spouse will do to you sometimes is they will do to you what you did to them, because they adopted it. They got used to it. So they're like, oh, this is how we get down. So now you try to change, like, no, don't try to change. No, don't try to be positive. No, don't try to be Mr. Goody Two Shoes. No. You'd have been petty all these years. You finna get some of this pettiness. And then now they're going to try you. And guess what? Now you got to be the bigger person. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Hey, that's cool. And it might anger them when you start to grow and change. I'm like, no, you done hurt me this bad. You done did all this. Now you want to grow. Now you want to be in the right. Now you want to be special. Now you all mature. After you done did all this dirt, you done hurt me this bad. You finna get some of this back. Take it all. Take all of it. Anything they want to say, whatever, take all of it and just sidestep the power struggle. Sidestep the power struggle. Don't get back to them, and watch how things start to change and grow. You reinforce the behavior you want to see repeated, and you ignore the behavior you want to see decreased. As long as it's not harming you or harming them, you can ignore it. If it's harming you or harming them, you stop it, then you redirect it, then you reinforce it. That's behavioral science. So, hey, this is Tony Gaskins. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want you to go through this. I want you to process this communication tactics, and y'all forgive me for repeating myself some of the time because I had to pause. I got a million messages coming through right now. I hate to leave people waiting, leave them on red with my insurance business and my son writing me in. You know, have an 18-year-old writing you nonstop about their ideas and their thoughts and their dreams and all of this is very rare. So I got to tend to my son when he writing me. So y'all forgive me. And so we're going to be working, and we're going to make this thing happen. We're going to keep growing. I should, Lord willing, be able to film Thursday and Friday with a couple more relationship topics. Then we'll keep going. If you got topics you want me to touch on, put it in the comments. We're going to touch on some of the stuff in the media as well, whether that be Tyler Perry, P. Diddy, whoever. If any follow-ups on that need to be done. The Blessed Tribe, you'll see the button up under my video say join. I'm going to do a review. Do a review for the Blessed Tribe on that, Pop the Balloon. And yeah, we're going to keep going. It's not my favorite show. Not too crazy about it, but folks love it and love the reviews and all of that. So, hey, got to give the people what they want. So, thank you so much. Shout out again to Giovanni and every other donor. But I opened my email, and Giovanni was the last donor. And it was, substantial what she gave in this day and age, in this time, in this season right now. It was substantial. It's like nearly 100 times what people give. No, at least 10, 20 times, probably 20 times the average donation. So I say that to say, I had to shout out Giovanni. God bless you. Hopefully none of her friends and family that be asking her for money follow me. And we're going to keep on building. We're going to keep building. Next week, we got a trip with the boys. So instead of doing Chicago, we're doing a college trip next week, next Wednesday. So raising funds to be able to cover their hotel or gas and food. Some of them, I have to get them an outfit because I want us to be presentable when we go and be really put together when we go. So get them an outfit and trying to work on that. So thank you so much for our donors, for our support. Y'all will get to see that. I'll take some video of it on my phone. I'll post it in my story, post it on the page or what have you. You'll get to see some of that. And so thank you so much. It means more than you know. Your support is helping us keep going. And a part of our program too, we have a rental assistance program. So it's certain families that we help out with their rent And so the Tony Gas Family Foundation, we very, very active. We trying to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ, like really do the work so people can see and feel the love of Christ. So I want you to understand what you're a part of when you are supporting and you donating to the foundation. And we do everything above board. We keep everything in line and really do the work. So, hey, thank you so much. God bless you. And we will be in touch.